WhatCulture.com is actually one of my favorite YouTube channels. I think they're funny, I think they're fun at the very least, and they have those wonderful British accents which can make you believe that they're an expert in anything. Recently, however, they did a video called 8 Comics You Should Be Reading Right Now, which included America Chavez, which proves their British accents wrong. This book includes some of the worst writing ever put down on paper, bad paneling in each comic book issue, and increasingly bad artwork. Not to mention the fact that they included Brian Michael Bendis's terribly boring The Defenders. So if theirs isn't a list of 8 comics you should be reading right now, what is? Well, I am Englentine from I Love Comics, and here are 8 comics you should be reading right now. Screw it, we're Americans and portion size is larger here. Here are 10 comics you should be reading right now. Number 10. Thanos from Marvel Comics, written by Jeff Lemire, drawn by Mike Deodato. This is family trouble writ large as Thanos' own son tries to kill him. So we get to see the fall of the Mad Titan. We even get to see him imprisoned and tortured, and just when we think that they're about to rehabilitate him, just as he is standing beside the Avengers themselves as a hero, not just a hero, but the greatest hero on the planet, the Mad Titan reveals himself to be the most evil creature in the universe once again. So this is not some strange attempt to turn a villain into a hero, but to show you exactly what evil can look like inside of the Marvel Universe. Number 9. Mighty Mouse from IDW Comics, written by Shali Fish and drawn by Igor Lima. Now this is easily some of the most fun you will have with a comic book at this moment in time. This is where we have Mighty Mouse coming into the real world, and the only person who believes he could possibly exist is a young boy who may be the key to getting Mighty Mouse back to his home before it is taken over by aliens. However, before they get home, they have to solve some problems that the young boy has. It's relevant, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's got a great art style that mixes cartoonish comic books with this pseudo-realistic art style that we love today. It is definitely one of the best times you'll ever have with a comic book, and it should be on your pull list. Number 8. Black Bolt from Marvel Comics, written by Saladin Ahmed, art by Christian Ward. So Black Bolt's been imprisoned, but by who and where? He's been depowered, and yet he's got to fight his fellow inmates, including the Absorbing Man, and their friendship is one of the greatest things about the comic, and it comes out of left field. This book suffers for its relationship to the Inhumans. Because of what's been going on between the Inhumans and the X-Men, the Inhumans have suffered greatly for it. And this book deserves nothing but praise. I cannot stress how well written this book is. And the art is a perfect style for it. It's both a buddy comedy, it's a drama, it's a prison break story. It's a whole bunch of things rolled up into one that just rivets you to the page. Number 7. Shirtless Bear Fighter. It's about a guy. He fights bears. He's shirtless. Art by Neil Vendrell and Mike Spicer. Written by Jody Lehup and Sebastian Greimer. And if a shirtless bear fighting guy isn't enough for you, I don't know if I can help you, but I'll try. So, after being betrayed by the bears that raised him, the legendary shirtless bear fighter wanders the forest he's sworn to protect, fist-fighting bears, eating flapjacks, and being the angriest man in the world has ever known. So when wild-eyed, super-strong bears attack citizens of major city, Shirtless ventures into the human world to do what he does best, punch those bears in the face. Honestly, this is, I said fun before for a couple of comics, and that's the main focus to this whole thing is to have fun, and this book will help you do it. But it's definitely not for kids. Number 6. Superman from DC Comics. Now, while some companies would let their greatest heroes make deals with the devil to get out of their marriages, in this case, DC Comics has embraced the greatest relationship of their comic book line, Superman and Lois. Add their son Jonathan to the mix, and you've got some of the best stories that have been released this year easily. And they embrace the family dynamic, and that's one of the things that makes Superman stand out. You do get the superheroics. You do get the danger. Sometimes you get the danger because of his family. That's where some of the suspense comes from. But they're not afraid to embrace an aging and an adult Superman, which, like I said, we cannot say the same thing for the other company. Here, though, you really do get story and you get character, and that means you care when the action begins. Number 5, Clue by IDW Comics. Man, I've been singing the praises of this book quite a bit, as a matter of fact. It's written by Paul Allore. Its art is by Nelson Daniel. And when the mysterious... One of the twists I found was the fact that it's a fourth wall breaking funny book. I mean, this is legitimately funny. There's comedy elements to this, and the butler is the narrator. And you actually get clues as you go along, so you're trying to solve the mystery as it goes. This is exactly what you want from a comic book that's called Clue. It takes the elements of the movie that you love and just turns it on its head for the comic book medium. Number 4. Okay, so what culture wasn't completely wrong? In this case, we have Batman, the War of Jokes and Riddles, and this tells the story of how the Riddler and the Joker went to war against each other for the soul of Gotham City, with Batman right in the middle. For as action-packed as this story is, and it does have a ton of action in it, it's amazing the way they're able to just parse the strategy of each character and the different ways that they would approach warfare. Now, it is a little bit of a stretch to see the Joker and the Riddler both recruiting all of these different villains who would be villains in their own right. It's one thing that you just pay money for Deathstroke to do what he does, but there are other villains who have their own reasons and own motivations. Still, put it all together and you've just got one amazing story. Number 3, Iron Fist. Now, in spite of Marvel trying to make you really hate Iron Fist with the likes of the TV show and whatever the hell this comic book is supposed to be, and trust me, it should be on a different kind of list, Iron Fist managed to come out of the gates running. This has great art, a great story. This is, I mean, and some awesome kung fu scenes. You have Iron Fist putting himself up against a whole bunch of different masters from different houses. You got, of course, Kunlun, and they're trying to find out who is the supreme fighter. And you've got all sorts of different kinds of fighters, including one that's made out of rats, one that has different diseases. Just, it's an amazing story. And this isn't one of those, hey, I've got to find the fist again stories. He already has that. It's just, he hasn't had a challenge in a long time, and finally he's put to the test again. Easily among the best that Marvel Comics has to offer right now. Number 2, Aquaman from DC Comics. There's been a coup in Atlantis, and Aquaman ends up losing his throne, and he's presumed dead. So he becomes sort of a Batman of Atlantis, stopping crime as he tries to find a way to regain his power. Mira, who's on the outside of a dome that had been erected around Atlantis, trying to get in. So far, this has been an amazing story, and I was surprised at how much tension they can build. When you know they're not going to kill off the character, they instead take away what is dearest to him, his family and his position. And what we get is just a comic book that you want to keep turning the pages on. And it's one thing to make you want to read a book, but it's another to make you want to keep coming back for more. Number 1, Super Sons from DC Comics. Holy Toledo, if you told me last year that I would find one of the best comics out there to be a comic book that starred Damian Wayne, I would think you're freaking nuts. I hate the character of Damian Wayne. But you put him together with Jonathan Kent, gold! I mean, this is just tons of fun. It's well drawn. It's well written. The dialogue is sharp. It feels like a 1940s farce, the back and forth of these two characters, like an Abbott and Costello style thing. And all the while, they're fighting bad guys. I mean, Kid Amazo was a serious bad guy. But the bickering, the back and forth, it's just perfect. And that's the best way to describe this book. Dang near perfect. There you go, gang. 10 comic books I think you should be reading right now. Now, What Culture got some things right, but they got some big things wrong, and I'm sure that you thought the same thing about my list. So let me know in the comments below. What would you take off the list? What would you put on the list is more important. You know, keep the positivity in the community. What are the comic books that you're like, hey, those are good, but this is what I would put on my top 10 list? Or at least I know this was shaped like a top 10 list, but it was actually just 10 comics. But yeah, what is something that I forgot to put on or you would have put on instead? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video and you want to see more, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And also, head on over to Patreon or VidMe. And the links are in the description below. Drop $1 in the till. Help us keep making these videos. If you don't want to do the monthly thing, VidMe's got a tip jar, and we appreciate anything anybody can do to help us out. Either way, we thank everybody who's already done that, anybody who will do that, and everyone. Thank you very, very much for watching.
Underdog, 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 speed of lightning, roar of thunder.